Well, my reading plan, I have been reading through Jeremiah during this quarantine, which has been, it's my favorite book of the Bible, so I was excited to get here. And one thing about the beginning of Jeremiah is there's a lot of comparison between Jeremiah and his message and the other prophets and priests, and how there's just a lot of, that these other prophets are not speaking. God will say they're not speaking what I've given them to say. They're just saying what people want them to hear. But Jeremiah comes with a harder message, a different message. And so as I've been reading this, I've just been like, this time through, just really longing to hear from God, and not just be someone who speaks what people want to hear. And especially chapter 23, there's a couple of verses 21 and 22, God's saying, I did not send out these prophets, yet they ran. I did not speak to them, yet they prophesied. If they had really stood in my counsel, they would have enabled my people to hear my words. I would have turned from their evil ways and their evil deeds. So that's been kind of a theme for me the last few weeks, of just like trying to stand in the Lord's counsel and hear from Him, and thinking about, okay, what does it look like to, God, what are you doing in this time? What are you asking of me during this time? What does it look like to lead? What's your message? And a couple of that, I've also listened to some leadership podcasts, and Patrick Lencioni, this guy, he speaks a lot to like business leaders and stuff, but he was just saying like, how you lead during this time, people will remember for the rest of their lives. Just put a little bit of pressure, and I was just like, I'm trying to stand in the counsel of God, and God, what's your message for people that you've put at my table, and people that you're asking me to lead? And so that's been my posture for a while, but I feel like what the Lord's doing in me during this quarantine is more revealing junk and sin in my own heart, rather than maybe a really profound message for other people. I got into when I was a college student, I remember God began to grip my heart to live a life of being a servant, and just how Jesus talked about, that this is what greatness looks like in my kingdom, is to be a servant. And so I've tried to make that a part of my life. I don't think I'm excellent at it, but I do work at it. And serving for me has looked a lot like, I see something that needs to be done, and I go do it. I just put whatever aside and go do that. And so during this quarantine, I've been trying to do that in my home. And I think what I've realized, and I think God's wanting to kind of go a little deeper in that heart of being a servant, just in my own family. And, like doing house chores or seeing projects need to be done, like that's not so hard for me, but I'm kind of a perfectionist. I'm a 1 on the Enneagram, and I like things done a certain way. And so I've just noticed in my heart just a real, I think all of us, together all the time, just kind of being pretty critical and not being a servant, and not wanting to celebrate other ways or other ideas. But, I'll celebrate it as long as it's done the way I want it to be done. And so that's kind of what God's been doing in me, just like, and it feels really good. I mean, it's difficult, but just I feel like, God's refining me, and hopefully I'll come through this quarantine with more of a servant's heart, kind of like what Jessica said a few days ago on our Instagram account. But this is just a little thought from my devotional life. I still am just trying to be quiet before the Lord, and like, God, I want to sit in your counsel. Please lead me. But a lot of what I think He's doing is inner working in my heart, and I want to celebrate that. So see you next time.